Look at us. Ah,
One microphone? Or your mic there. Yeah.
all right. We're live here, folks, at Netroots Nation, and this is actually Friday, but this is a Friday edition of Thursday Coast.
It works.
It works. Whatever.
Works for me.
How many years Netroots? Oh, first of all, of course, I'm assuming everybody knows, but everybody knows that we don't have to introduce him. Marcos Melissa's the founder and publisher of the largest online progressive community, Daily Coast. The as well as the founder of Segments with a Q, the host of the podcast The Brief, but also the founder of this.
Not quite. The Netroots Nation was originally Yearly Coast, which was a product of it emerged from Daily Coast. I helped raise money for it. I gave him the name at the beginning. So there's a lot of support, but it wasn't officially, I didn't have any money back then. So it wasn't like I could own anything. So, but it was a desire of the Daily Coast community to have something in person. And that was 17 years ago. And this thing is still going strong. Kind of amazing.
That's my next question. It's been 17 years.
17 years since 2006.
Wow. Somebody asked how many years I've been coming. I don't know. I was at some of the earlier ones. But I don't know if I know I've been to everyone, but I can't believe it's been 17 years.
It's been 17 years. The first one, my son was 2 years old. He started crying during Harry Reid's big keynote address. He is now almost 20 years old. He is serving his nation in uniform in the Middle East. Yeah. So we've all grown up. My daughter, who's here,
right. You just met
she's 16. She was 4 months old the last time we were in Chicago 16 years ago.
Wow.
That was the last time she was at the Netroots Nation. She was 4 months old. She's back, and she's been awesome. She's a master debater, and she's soaking this stuff up. She loves it.
In your opinion, has Netroots Nation changed or grown or anything like that?
It's dramatically changed. I had a political reporter today ask me, "There's no big names." And I was like, good, because you know what? There was the original. When I started this thing 20 years ago, not this thing, but, Daily Coast 20 years ago, everybody wanted to talk about nothing but presidential elections, right? It was about Howard Dean and John Kerry and then Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. And Republicans were winning school board races, judicial races. They were focused on the grassroots, ground-up operation. They had a corporate funding operation. They had think tanks to support their candidates. They had Rush Limbaugh and Fox News to support them in the media. We had nothing. And our people only wanted to argue about the presidential election, which was a tiny fraction of the entire political world, right? And so you're having, presidential candidates show up. That was a big deal for people because that's what they really cared about.
I remember, yeah.
Now we got Justin Jones today. He's keynoting. That to me is more exciting than, say, Kamala Harris or Joe Biden showing up, because this is showing that we as a movement now care about state-based organizing and supporting our great progressives at those lower levels. And the culmination of this was just a few months ago when we won that Wisconsin Supreme Court election by 11 points in the most 50-50 state in the country. We only have to go back 3 elections in that Wisconsin Supreme Court. A Republican ran unopposed.
Yeah.
We're finally as a movement realizing that the power is at the bottom and it bubbles up.
Yeah.
And so Joe Biden showed up great. Like, I would hate it if Kamala Harris was to show up. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Justin Jones. I'm excited about the guys that are doing this work on the ground. I was excited yesterday, the keynote address by Eric Adams.
Yeah.
And some of the local, the new DA. Fox? Was it
Kim Fox?
Yeah.
You said Eric. You mean Brandon Johnson?
Yeah. Sorry. Oh my God. Did I say Eric Adams? No. Opposite. That's like Bizarro World Eric Adams. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe I did that. So, absolutely. And it's showing even the power where organizing at the state level, it matters whether you're in a blue state, because Chicago's dramatically upgraded.
Yeah.
If you're in a red state, somebody like Justin Jones.
Is it red state?
Yeah. Doing what he's doing and building awareness on gun safety and organizing in Tennessee in a red state. Yeah. And of course, the battleground states, everybody pays attention to those guys anyway, right? So, but it matters everywhere. And so that's what's exciting to me. So conference has evolved away from just focusing on like who's the president going to be. I mean, I can't tell you how many Netroots Nations I came to that everybody wanted to talk about was just Bernie Sanders is, Bernie Sanders that.
I remember that.
And like, okay, great, we're past that now.
Yeah.
And nothing, I'm not saying nothing against Bernie Sanders.
Of course,
I'm saying now people are talking about Justin Jones. They're talking about organizing in the states. They're talking about that grassroots and what it means and why policy matters and what that policy looks like and things like eliminating cash bail in Chicago. That's exciting stuff.
Well, and not only that, people aren't just talking electoral.
Yep.
You know, electoral, overlaps with everything.
Yep.
But there are other issues here that are not just election year issues, not just necessarily ballot issues, and also conversations about how to get certain issues on the ballot. So that broadens it a lot more too, doesn't it?
No, absolutely. Politics matters, and a lot of times, I mean, people talk about why should I vote? My vote doesn't matter. People like Brandon Johnson winning in Chicago,
That's a big deal.
He will show why it matters.
Yeah.
Even between Democrats, because we had a Democratic mayor before, right?
Yeah.
It's not just even a question of Democrat versus Republican. It's upgrading the quality of the Democrats as well.
Right.
And why that matters. And if people start seeing those tangible results in their lives, then they're going to be more like, yeah, okay, this voting stuff actually, it matters. Not just in abstract, I got to vote against Republicans, but I can actually make my life better by engaging in the vote.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. You are introducing the keynote.
I am launching the evening. So there's today the focus is on state-based organizers, and the final keynote is I just forgot his name. I've been talking about Justin, and but there's gonna be some other people that are talking about state-based organizing as well. Tomorrow's we will focus on federal elections, federal office, and I'm gonna be moderating a panel of Congress people.
Okay.
So I'll be doing that tomorrow. Today I'm gonna just sort of set the stage, and I'm gonna be talking about what I just talked about, how it is absolutely critical. It's how exciting it is that we as a movement now have moved away from just focusing on the presidential election to all these elections that matter so much, and eventually feed up and support that president.
So did you see this report that came out? I think it was in the New York Times, so I don't know how credible it is, that the GOP turnout was greater in the midterm?
Yeah, that thing is hilarious.
So what's up with it?
It is the dumbest art. It's literally saying that GOP turnout was higher, right? Okay. And that's supposed to be a warning sign. We won. We won the election with higher Republican turnout. What's that mean? That some Republicans maybe didn't vote for Republicans. It means that independents swung heavily in a Democratic way.
Yeah.
And it means that next year, when we actually have presidential year turnout, which means much higher Democratic turnout, Republicans are in real trouble.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was like bizarro world political analysis. Like it made no sense. If you lose an election and more of your people turn out than the other party, that's the warning sign. That's what you can't win with the majority of the vote turnout.
That's if the shoe was on the other foot, they would say what Dems in disarray.
Yeah,
that was their favorite thing, and really they said that when they would say that Obama it was electoral, but he had a super majority.
Yeah.
And didn't get things done. Oh, Democrats have failed.
Yeah.
You're right. So how is it that they can have higher turnout and still lose?
Yeah. How's that the Democrats' problem?
Yeah.
I mean, literally the opposite. I read that and I was like, I thought turnout was more even. But if you're really telling me that more Republicans turned out and Democrats still won, we are in good shape moving into next year.
Yeah. One would hope so. One would think so. Folks, we are here at Netroots Nation. Good to see Marcos. Again, this is 17 years.
17.
Wow. And in terms of what about the person asked you about elected officials, which is, that's a silly question. Not no big names. I don't know what big names. But said something. Somebody asked me the other day. They said, Mark, who decides who are the big names? Mean, to us, everybody in here is a big name because we know them and we know the importance of the work they do. Some people's issues are big, even if their names aren't up in lights, and that's okay.
They're getting people elected, Mark.
That's what I'm saying. That's okay.
And recruit candidates.
Right.
Yeah.
So who decides who the big names are? But the question I really want to ask, in terms of the participation and the turnout, Is that as big as it's always been in terms of actual people being here? And I know we have people watching virtually too.
Yeah. So I can't. I don't know. I haven't even asked what the overall numbers are.
Right.
Just from my own gut, it looks like a lot more people here from last year. And last year was that weird COVID transitional year. And I think there's still a lot of people that are feeling COVID safety, sense. But turnout looks fantastic to me. I mean, it looks pretty active, and the sessions I've been to have been pretty packed, and there's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It is very young.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is when I started, I was like the cohort, my colleagues were like the young people.
The young people.
And my cohorts now run organizations, and they're sending their younger staffers here to learn.
And that's something.
And so it's weird because I'm seeing less people that I recognize, and a lot of people don't recognize me anymore. Like in the early days, it was a whole different scene. I'm so glad. I'm not complaining. Like I can actually sit down and take a breather and not be have people come up and talk to me. But it does mean everybody's getting younger, which means sort of the movement, there's like a new generation coming up. And that younger generation is also a lot more diverse, a lot more black and brown and Asian. And so to me, it's kind of exciting seeing, I'm not going to say it's a passing the baton quite yet, because, my cohort still, I mean, we're in their 50s, like 50s, 60s. People are still, they're running things. Yeah. But it's now nice seeing that there's this next wave coming up below us that are gonna inherit this movement, and I think it's going to be in good hands. So that's exciting to me.
Notice, folks, he said his cohort. He didn't include me. He didn't say our cohort, Mark. So he still counts me with the young people.
Right.
You didn't say our cohort, so I appreciate that. That's what the friends are for. That's what friends are for. Well, man, this is great. Congratulations. A lot of great conversations, folks. And again, I know many of you have been watching virtually, which is a good thing. I mean, one thing that the pandemic did, it taught us the importance of maintaining a virtual presence, because everybody you don't need to miss out on something just because you can't physically be here. In terms of the quote unquote big names and electeds, I mean, we know they're going to show up next year. You have to turn them away next year. But be that as it may, this is still a worthwhile conversation, and I think the takeaway from this, as well as this conversation, is in fact the importance of the down ballot, the importance of the locals, the importance of the state races, the importance of the issues, not just the big national races and the big names and lights.
Yeah, I think part of it is that they try to compare it to CPAC, right, which is just a bunch of politicians preening in front of the conservatives, and it's just
and screaming at each other.
This is a working conference. People here are learning how to do the work that gets Democrats elected, and quite frankly, I think we're doing a much better job of it than they are. So this model works. But I would rather have us working on the nuts and bolts of how to use tools to win elections, how to more effectively talk to voters, how to talk about the issues that people care about, than sit down and just watch people talk. I can if I want to see Joe Biden speak, I can go on YouTube, I can go on online, and I can find a Joe Biden speak. Like I don't need him to come in and say the same stump speech.
That's right.
To us. Like teach us something that we need to learn.
The CPAC even have workshops like these. And folks, if you're watching,
who the frick knows?
Behind us, this is the town square. This is where you have different organizations, different services. I mean, there are conscious, progressive-minded businesses here, investors, people who actually, help raise money for some of these important issues, technology firms that, again, you may not have heard of, but are progressive and geared toward the progressive audience. And so they're all here as well. So you see all of these folks, and it just shows you how broad and diverse it is.
It's evolved quite a bit on that front. As it gets younger,
people of color, women, LGBT represented. I mean, and that's reflected in all the panels and the workshops. That's what Netroots has always been, and glad to be a part of it. Where you heading out?
I'm gonna visit with some of these other folks here on Radio Row and catch up.
Radio Row again, yes.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna find an hour to just keep practicing my my speech for the keynote block later this evening at 4:00.
You really have to practice.
I already have it up here, and I've got it memorized, and I know what I'm going to say. and it's going to go fine when I give it. But every time before I give a speech, I have this sort of idea that this is the time I'm going to crash and burn. So the more I practice it, the more I like lock it in, the calmer I will be when it's time for me to go on stage. I'm a blogger for a reason. Like this is not what I signed up for. I'm going to be very honest. I am most comfortable in front of a computer with the warm glow of the monitor on my skin. I mean, that's like being out with humans is it's a little more difficult, and being on stage is most difficult at all. But I've evolved in 17 years too, so I've gotten more and more comfortable with it.
Okay.
But still, it's part. I gotta practice, and I gotta feel like I have it locked down, because I don't read off a script. It just doesn't work for me. It looks I can't pull it off. I can't make it look natural and dynamic if I'm reading off a script. So it's got to be off the top of my head.
It's got to be extemporaneous and all that. Okay.
Or at least pretend to be extemporaneous.
I'm trying to help my brother, y'all. We're gonna give him some preaching skills.
I would love that.
So yeah, we're gonna work.
Add a little fire. I don't have a lot of.
And then he can be extemporaneous and bring it like that. So
absolutely,
man, thank you.
Such a pleasure.
All right, Netroots Nation, y'all. Here with our good friend Marcos for a special edition of Thursday Coast on a Friday. Live from Netroots Nation.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Talk to you next week.
Appreciate it. Talk next week. Okay,
Yeah,
take care. All right, folks, we are here live, and there obviously too. Don't forget your glasses. There's some other folks we're going to be talking to during the course of Netroots Nation. As I said, you can see some of what's going on behind me. This is sort of the town hall, or the town square, I should say. And this is where people are gathering and seeing some of the workshops, some of the tables in the town square. And this is typical of every Netroots. This is not anything new. This is where people are having conversations, learning about different programs, different issues and whatnot. So we're here, we're live. We'll take a little break here. We'll come back. We'll be streaming some more conversations from Netroots Nation. So stay alert to our social media. Make it plain everywhere. Another edition of